Well, I've been said that in order to fix the problem in DC, that you were going to have to use suppression tactics. And that is exactly what Trump has done with DC. Although I feel it should be more than just police, you're going to need money, you're going to need funding for programs so these kids have things to do. The suppression tactic I don't have a problem with because I understand what suppression does. Okay, the reason why this was needed was because the democratic policies that have been put in place that allow crime to fester and not deal with crime, you allow it to fester, and then criminals get more confident in doing crime because they already know it's a slap on the wrist. They already know there's a good chance they're not going to get caught. That's why so many murders can go unsolved, because the techniques that are used for crime. In this situation, it's suppression, because you have officers on every corner. I mean, they're going up and down the street, and they 3, 4, 5 carloads deep, and basically, I could say this, when I'm out and about on the street, and I'm off Mississippi Ave, Southeast Mississippi and Wayne. So when I'm out and about, and when you are conducting yourself in in the streets, and you can conducting yourself in a good manner, I mean, they drive by. Okay, if they see one of you, they're not gonna mess with one person. It's when they see 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different people, and they don't have apparent reason to be there. So I'm kind of 50-50 on the tactics that Trump used in DC. Although I do feel that there was something that needed to be done. Now, there are some citizens that are going to complain about it. Of course, they're going to complain. And what I've noticed, there's been a lot of tethers that seem to complain, but then they live in Columbia Heights. They're up in Columbia Heights, and see, those are tethers, okay? Those are basically, that's pretty much where they migrate in Washington, D.C. area, the Columbia Heights area, okay? And so that area are waiting for the areas such as Southeast, Northeast. They're waiting for foundational Black Americans to be moved out. So they think they can move, they're gonna move in. And that's not how it works. It just doesn't happen that way. So those are the only people that you hear saying that they didn't need to do what they're doing. They had to do what they had to do. Like I said, I'm 50-50 on it, because I also believe that you should bring in some money to fund programs. When I say programs, I'm talking about programs to educate, programs to start things that kids can do other than just to congregate. Because right now, remember, you took shop out, you took cosmetology out, you took all the fundamental programs that were used to pipeline children to work. And so what you have is there are a lot of Section 8 moms, you know what I'm saying, that have these kids, and guess what? In many cases, listen, the supervision is not up to par. I'm gonna be real with you. The supervision is not there. I don't know what the mother doing. You understand what I'm saying? I'm trying not to go too far, because this is not that type of video. But the point that I'm trying to make is that pretty much in DC, you can go out anywhere and pretty much walk around and feel like I mean, people going, if they try you, I guess you can scream out, and some police officer will come down the street somewhere. So, like I said, I'm not at odds with the suppression tactics that's being used, because that is what you need. Being a military man, I kind of understand warfare, and it is a warfare when you deal with crime, and when you deal with people that think they're smarter than the system, and they try to manipulate as far as how the system works, and they're not being maintained properly. The criminals are being put back into the street to what? To do more crime, to commit more murders that go unsolved, because guess what? This payback time or whatever vendetta that they may have had, that's going to continue to fester, because you're letting the guy back out on the street. He already committed the murder, right? He committed a murder, so he gets due process to give him bail. No, he's not a regular guy. This is a street person. You're going to put him right back out into the community that basically he may have done a crime, and guess what? Somebody kills him. You see what I'm saying? And maybe someone from another neighborhood. So this continues to go on and on and on and on. And so, even though you had a black mayor who sat here, but she didn't seem to, she's Democratic. She's Democrat. They seem to think that everything is okay and just leave it like it is, and that it's going to fix itself. And unfortunately, that's not what happened. And this is the reason why Donald Trump had to step in as far as Washington, D.C., because it was not being maintained properly. I've lived here all my life. The last good administration we had was with Marion Barry. That was it. After Marion Barry, it was off the roof, because every other mayor that came through that was Democrat, pretty much after Marion Barry, they were for everyone else. They were for immigrants. They were for illegal aliens. They're for everybody else, and they didn't care about what happened in certain communities in D.C. That's why you could look and you could see when the crime started to spill over into into areas where now you're affecting people that are traveling to DC. You're affecting tourists. You're affecting that money. You get tourists come to DC, get beat up and robbed and shit. Okay, now you're affecting money now, okay? So the crime spilled over. They left it to be to one side, which was the south side, southeast. You had police come through. They come through, do something every now and then. The criminal will go run in the bushes and shit, and when they leave, he get right back to doing what he do. And it was like clockwork. And so these are the tactics to flush out. Okay, and it's almost like door to door. It's not really door to door, but they're a little more flexible as far as not being able to run up in your house. They don't need a warrant, pretty much, because this is a federal city, federal government, and when the government changes, the laws are going to change. And a lot of people may not want to agree with this. Not all over DC was there crime. There wasn't really no crime around the Capitol. But what happened was there's certain areas that people go to visit, like the Wharf. Okay, the Wharf, that's in Southwest. So in Southwest DC, that's some crime over there, right? That's where the National Stadium is. That's over there near the soccer stadium. You know what I'm saying? Because they have public housing over there. And so once again, if you don't have anything for those children to do, and all they see is people coming in and out of the community that are spending money, and I'm just telling you, this is what happens. And when you did not take care of those parts of the cities that did have crime, it started to spill over into like the northwest side behind the Capitol. That's why you have South Capitol, because it's south of the Capitol. That's why you have North Capitol, because it's north, and you have East Capitol. You don't have West Capitol, but pretty much that's how it goes: north, east, and south. So once the criminology starts to move into areas where now that this is where the gentrification side is, and these people are affected by the crime now, that's when Trump wanted to step in and do something about it. You see, he steps in and do something about it because one of his aides or somebody got jumped, which I think that was kind of like a hoax. That was to start things off. But this is what you're dealing with in DC. Everyone that are in those criminal neighborhoods are not criminals. In fact, 90% of the people that live in those bad neighborhoods are not the ones doing the crime. Okay, many of those are young people that are being unchecked, unsupervised. That their parents or their mother, I know their fathers ain't dead, but pretty much just to say their mother's not on point. Okay, because those are the mothers that are going out, going to the club, having one night stands, getting drunk. They're hooking up with the low lives of the community, and that's who they're choosing to procreate with, and therefore, the father may go to jail. or he's missing. So I'm talking about in DC in particular, in certain areas of crime. I'm not talking about this is what all fathers go through. I'm just talking about in certain areas where kids go unchecked and they're allowed to just whatever because, hey, guess what? The father's not involved. He ain't coming around. And some of these women don't even know how they got pregnant. They don't even know who the father is. So what you end up having is just like any other race. What you end up having is just like, you just have these little children, babies that are being raised and unsupervised. They're being raised because they go to a school, just like a school of fish, right? They all go to the same school, and then they learn how to do things they're not supposed to do. Another reason why Trump wanted to suppress Washington, D.C., because it is the only federal city that is also a sanctuary city. So by taking over the federal city, it is no longer a sanctuary city, basically because Trump runs it. This is Trump's city. So also what he wanted to do was get a lot of the illegal aliens out of Washington, D.C. So in order to do, I wish he just said that instead of just making it all about the people on the South Side. That, the crime, yeah, it's bad. But at the same time, if the Democratic Party would have been doing their job, that crime could have been controlled from the beginning. So, you have to look at it, well, what's behind it? All of a sudden, one of your aides got killed. What about all the other kids that live in those communities that have to go to school every day, that actually become part of it because they have to go to school and they have to fight the bully. You can't get past the bully. So once you fight the bully, now you become the person that someone is coming after. And so the only way you can stop this right now is through suppression. If parents aren't at home, instructing their children the proper way, how to act, suppression. Until the young ones, the children understand that, oh, okay, we can't do these things. There's no reward in the crime anymore that the older ones were doing, but they're getting locked up now. So hopefully by taking them off the streets, that'll save the youngins that don't have to fight and protect themselves. And the good children, the good kids that go to the schools that don't carry weapons, and they have to go around these thugs and people that do carry the weapons. So you have to protect those children. Oh, guess what? They'll have to protect themselves. All right? So that's just the insight of what's going on. I had a little bit of time to assess it. I wanted to kind of wait for everything to draw out to see what exactly that I will be talking about. And like I thought it would be a quasi situation where in one light, yeah, who wants suppression? Who wants police running around all over the place? But at the same time, you have to look at the legal system this thing deteriorated. Okay? If you allow crime to keep going, people get what? Confidence, right? If cars are being stolen and nobody's doing anything about it, people get confident about it. And I'm not saying that perhaps maybe the police didn't get the proper backing like they're getting now. So there's still more time to go. Summertime hasn't ended yet. And I'll get back with you on that. This is Black Views, bringing you the Black news. Don't forget to subscribe, also like, and thank you very much.